Have you ever wondered who the greatest generation in NBA history is? This is a debate that has divided the NBA world for generations, but today that debate comes to an end in something I like to call the All-Star Games. In this tournament, the rules are simple. 3-minute quarters, bracket-style single elimination, and the last team standing is crowned the greatest generation in history. Now, without further ado, hit like, hit subscribe, let's get straight into the video. So this is what the bracket looks like. So we have 4 different games in the first round, going down to 2, and then finally going to the final. And without further ado, we'll get into the first game.
We're here for the first game of the 60s versus the 70s. My prediction of this game is the 60s are taking it, because for me they have a more well-rounded team, even though the 70s have Kareem, Dr. J, and Walt Frazier, and John Havlicek. I reckon just the 70s with the original Mr. Triple-Double, Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain. I reckon they're going to take this game, but I reckon this will be a close game, so we'll see how this goes. We're here for the opening tip, and it looks like the 60s win it. Oscar Robertson bringing up the ball, swings it up to Jerry West. Jerry West slows down and draws a foul. Inbounded into Bob Pettit, who swings it over to Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor on the drive and draws a foul, going line for 2. Now here Elgin Baylor with the first bucket of the game with a free throw to put the 60s up by 1, and here to put them up by 2. And it's good.
The 60s came out on this game strong, just connecting on every single lob they threw and throwing about 3 just in the first quarter. But after that, the 70s started to learn onto their game plan and ended up getting their own game plan of knocking down the lob and also knocking down the 3-ball and any long-range shot that the 60s gave them, helping them to secure an easy win over the first round and helping them to advance to the second round to play the winner of the next game.
Now on to the second game, which is the 80s versus the 90s, and winner of this will go to play the 70s. So this game I reckon will be a very close game. I've got the 90s personally. I just think Scottie Pippen will be able to take Larry Bird, and that Hakeem will be a threat down low. But yeah, so we'll get into that first game. Get into the next game, sorry. For this next game, looks like Hakeem wins the tip. John Stockton will bring the ball up from the 90s to start the game. Like he's slowing it down, guarded by Magic, swings it over to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan coming down the lane and misses the layup. Alright, Magic Johnson bring the ball up, swings it up to Larry Bird. Guarded by Scottie Pippen. Swings it back down to Magic Johnson, definite size advantage at the point guard position, and it's blocked by Hakeem. Michael Jordan bring the ball up the court, looking to get a quick fast break. Swings it over to John Stockton, sending an Iverson cut for Michael Jordan for an open 3. Michael Jordan takes it and bang! First bucket of the game for the 90s.
The defensive effort here from the 90s in this game was just unmatched, not letting anything come into the paint. Anything that did come into the paint got swatted away straight away. But after the 80s learned this, they started taking their outside shots and actually made this a very competitive game. But thanks to a last-second fade by Hakeem with 1.2 left and the defensive effort of Scottie Pippen, the 90s will move on to play the 70s in the next round. But now we move on to the other side of the bracket, where we have Game 3.
Now time for our next game, the 2000s versus the 2010s All-Stars, a bit more of a current game with some more current players. For this game, I've got the 2000s All-Stars because, I mean, the chemistry between Kobe and Shaq, with then adding LeBron James, that's going to be tough to beat, but it will be a close game because Steph and KD and James Harden will be throwing up 3s. It looks like Shaq will win the opening tip. Gives Tim Duncan back to Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson bringing up the ball for the 2000s. Gets beating it up to Kobe. Kobe for 3. Bang! Kobe with the start.
The rest of this game was similar to that start, with all the first quarters being all one man, and that man was Kobe, scoring 8 of the team's first 12 quarter points to put them up 12-2 at the start of the game, and ending up helping them secure an easy win over the 2000s, and helping them to move on to the next round as we get into our final game of the first round, the East versus the West.
Here with the final game of round 1, which is the current East versus West All-Stars. Now, I've got the West. I mean, 3 out of the top 4 players in the world currently on one team. It's going to be hard to beat, but we'll see how it goes. Opening tip goes to the West. Shea bringing up the ball, gives it over to Luca. Luca back to Shea. Shea down the lane, posts up, spins back on Dame, goes around for a spin cycle and makes a layup. So the first points go to the West.
This game here was just all the Western All-Stars defensive pressure. They came out the game with 4 steals in the first 3 quarters, and with Shea having 2 of them, and just leading to easy buckets. But although the West were pulling away early and even went up by as much as 12 points, the East brought it back to within 2 points with a minute left. But in the end, that didn't matter as the West pulled away and got the win, helping them to secure the final spot in the second round and having them play the 2000s. But we'll get on to the first game of the second round with the 70s versus the 90s.
In the second round here, we've got the 70s versus the 90s All-Stars. I've got the 90s in this game. I mean, again, just Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Hakeem Olajuwon. I think they're going to lock it down on defense, just like they did in the last game. And I don't reckon that the 70s will be able to handle this defense. And Kareem wins it for the 70s. Bob Laimbeer bring up the ball, go over to Kareem. Kareem off a screen, over Walt Frazier. Walt Frazier into Dr. J. Scotty tried to get a steal there. Dr. J with a couple of pump fakes, doesn't make him jump. Out to Walt Frazier, 3 left on the shot clock. Off to Bob Laimbeer. Bob Laimbeer for 3, no good. Rebound by Hakeem, up to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan on the break, gives it off to John Stockton. John Stockton dribbles it out and slows it down. Pulls the 3, bang! First point for the 90s.
The 90s came out on this game strong, putting in the defensive pressure and forcing the 70s to take heaps of tough shots, which they just couldn't make 4 at the start. But as they learned how the 90s were playing their defense, they started getting into some more post action and started connecting on every single lob they threw, hitting about 4 lobs just in 1 quarter and helping them to keep the game tight and giving them a 3-point lead with only 2 seconds left.
Get into John Stockton. John Stockton throws a couple of pump fakes. Throws a contested 3, no good. And the 70s move on.
The 70s here with an upset win, crawling their way back from a deficit as much as 7 points at one point and secure their spot in the finals. But now we go to the other side.
Here for the last game of the second round, for the winner of this to go into the finals, play the 70s, which is the current day West All-Stars versus the 2000s. Now, I've got the 2000s. I just think that after their dominant performance of the last game, they're just more well-rounded. But we'll see how it goes. Of the tip, Shaq wins the tip here. Back to Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson up to LeBron. LeBron guarded by switch on to Shea. Steps it back. Throws a pump fake. Doesn't put it up. Gives it into Shaq. Shaq with a pump fake. Easy layup. Bang. 2000s All-Stars with the first bucket of the game.
2000s started this game off strong, pulling out to a quick lead, and there was just nothing that the West could do to start this game. With Kobe and Shaq, if they found a way to stop Kobe, then Shaq was right there for a rebound, just for the putback, and there was nothing they could do to stop them. But on the other side of the game, the outside shooting from the West, it kept them in this game, and the 2000s just didn't know how to stop them. But even with a last-minute effort from the 2000s and a buzzer-beater 3, they just couldn't secure the win and had the current-day West All-Stars moving on to the final to play the 70s.
But we're here with the 70s versus the West All-Stars. Now, this game will decide who is the best All-Star team. So, without further ado, we'll get into this final, and yeah, we'll see who's the greatest All-Star team. Here for the opening tip, Kareem versus Jokic. And on opening tip goes to the 70s. Walt Frazier bringing up the ball for the 70s to start the game. Swings around to John Havlicek. Running an Iverson cut for Walt Frazier. Walt Frazier from the wing, fully contested by Shea. No good. Rebound Jokic. Jokic bringing the ball up. Off to KD. KD at the top, guarded by Dr. J. Gets a screen from LeBron. KD coming around. Fadeaway 3. No good. Rebound by Kareem. Off to Walt Frazier. Walt Frazier bringing the ball up. Again. guarded by Luka. Setting an off ball here for John Havlicek. John Havlicek is just standing there. Gets a screen. Goes downhill. Pulls up the midi. Bang! First points of the game go to the 70s.
The West All-Stars here just doing what they did best and relied on the outside shot, as the 70s just couldn't contest it as they weren't used to anyone shooting from that far. But on the other side, the 70s just connected on every lob that they did again, and the chemistry on the inside between all of them,
A quick score
throwing
here,
lobs
either
for
a
each other
3
and dunking
or a
them
2
every
and
single
foul.
play. It kept them in
Going
this
down
game,
the lane.
but going
Puts
into
it up.
the last
It's
20
good.
seconds, they were down by
1
3
point game,
and needed a
16
quick
seconds.
point.
They're going to have to foul here, and they do. Shea going to the line for 2. Shea's going to make both if he wants to keep the West have a chance. He makes the first. Shea for his second free throw. It's good. 70s don't have any timeouts. 15 seconds, down by 3. John Havlicek will bring up the ball. 10 seconds, he pulls a pump fake, pulls a 3. No good, rebound by Kareem. Kareem bringing it back out. Dr. J off to John Havlicek, off to Walt Frazier. Walt Frazier has to put it up. No good. And the West win the All-Star Games.
And with a thriller of a final game and the clutch of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at free throw line, the West are your All-Star Games champions and currently declared the greatest generation in basketball and the greatest All-Star team in NBA history. And thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit like, subscribe, put any video ideas down below that you want to see, any 2K or anything, and I'll be sure to read them all. And hey, I could do your video. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.